Asya Mohammed. Asya, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Karibu sana kwenye show.
Sante sana. Thank you for having me here.
Yes. Asya is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and she's also the head of legal department partner of Asya and Co Advocates.
Yes, indeed, that is the position.
Now, there's a story that made headlines a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And a small claims court ordered a landlord in Roysambu to pay his former tenant 150,000 shillings after being found in contravention of a contract that barred him from withholding the tenant's deposit should the tenant pay pack out with no pending bills.
Yes.
Most of the time when we're moving into right, you pay deposit and rent. Now it's a different case in Mombasa that I'm learning, because now in Mombasa you pay 2 deposits
Yes.
and rent. You know, very traumatizing, by the way.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you. Very traumatizing. In case, I want us to start from this individual. People are moving out, right? Now, when you move out, there's a guarantee, and they always tell you that tutapata deposit yako. But there's something that they always also say. In case tumepata nyumbako iko na shida, we are going to deduct ABCD from this deposit.
Yes.
Now, I've had I've moved a few times. I don't move a lot. I've moved a few times. Now, the first time, actually, 3 times, I would say. The first time I moved, I never got my deposit. The second time I moved, I never got my deposit again. Now, I just moved. Funny thing, it's so story is very close, because I just moved today,
Yes.
right? Niliambiwa jana and with my caretaker that we're going to look at the house and we'll tell you damages ziko zipi na ni pesa ngapi utapata. And I paid a lot of money, and I'm expecting them to send me back the money.
Yes.
What are my rights as a tenant?
Very well. First and foremost, I want to bring it out. There are different types of tenants. There is that tenant that owns a residential apartment or mansion, whatever it is. And there is also another tenant that actually is in regards to business, hotel shops, and so on, and the likes of that kind. So these 2 tenants, they all are governed in different segment of the law. There is for the people that have premises, they are governed under the Rent Restriction Act, and the ones that are owning businesses and under commercial premises, they are governed under the Landlord and Tenant Act,
Okay.
shops and all.
So I want us to look at the residential.
The residential,
Yes.
precisely. All right. So in this particular incident, actually, it is prudent that as a landlord, you go in and do a checklist. You normally ought to have a checklist to see and ensure that everything is in order and there is no damages, there are no loss. That is the formalities. That is the law. From the checklist, you have to even give the quotation to the tenant, like each and every, depending on what was damaged. Let's say most of the time they normally want to paint the house, wanataka
Yes.
kupaka rangi,
Yeah.
wanataka kuangalia kama mifereji yako sawa, and so on and so forth. So they normally have to give you a quotation on how much is going to be utilized in rectifying or bringing the premises to its original state.
Yeah.
So from that, you will actually know how much the landlord is going to spend, and the remainder of it, you are entitled to it.
Okay.
You see, the deposit is just a security that in case, in default, the tenant doesn't just go on a loss. They still have something to hold on to. So if the deposit exceed the arrears, that's when now you'll be entitled to do a notice. You have to do a notice and ask for those arrears. And there is a law that enables you on how to do about it. That is under the Distress Act, whereby you go to court and say that this person is in distress of this amount of money and so on and so forth. Now the procedure around it, you can actually go to the auctioneers, who will give you a proclamation for 7 days. After 7 days you haven't still owned up to your obligation, you'll be given for another 14 days for you to your things will be confiscated, and then you'll be given another 14 days for you to get hold of your things and own up to that responsibility.
Let me take you back. So I've paid. I'm moving out. Now, in case of this story that we're talking about, and kila kitu in order.
Yes.
What happens when my deposit is not refunded?
Very well. You have, under the Rent Restriction Act, you have a period of 2 years to go to court and ask for reimbursement. But before you do that, you can do a demand letter always and request for it. Like, I'm entitled to my deposit, I've paid this amount, and I've managed to clear this outstanding balance and so on and so forth. Perhaps I was the one who took the initiation to paint the house, do the repair and so on. So you are entitled to your full amount of deposit that you have submitted to the tenant, to the landlord, sorry. So in this incident whereby you are not in a position to recover the said amount, you have the opportunity to go to court. Funny enough, the Rent Restriction Act, it was constructed long back, and the limitation around it is 2,500, where you can bring a claim that reach the amount of 2,500. But now things have changed. The economy is different. I can attest there is no building, even a 1-bedroom house, that goes for 2,500. Now that calls the question, like, what are our lawmakers doing exactly? These laws needs to be, revised and amended to accommodate the people of this current generation. So, however, that doesn't restrict you to move the court for the demands that they have been infringed.
Okay. Wakili.
Yes.
Nataka nikurudishe nyuma pale ambapo umesema kwamba kuna orodha ya vile vitu ambavyo kwamba mwenye nyumba atakuwa sijui rangi, mifereji, masink na nini. So wakati mimi naingia nimetoa deposit. Nyumba nimeipata imepakwa rangi. Is it sawa nikitaka kujua kwamba hii rangi ni kama natoka alitumia gharama fulani. Mfereji kama nitaharibu gharama yake ni fulani before niingie. Ni sawa nikitaka kujua hizo vitu, ndo wakati natoka kama itakuwa rangi imepujuka, so najua the exact amount yenye itarudi.
So again, ni kweli hilo ni swali zuri sana. Kwanza unajua ukiingia kwa nyumba ina depend miaka mingapi utakaa hapo. Na unajua economy ya sasa, leo unaamka peremende ni shilingi 1, kesho unaamka ni shilingi 5. So you can never know the exact quotation of that thing, but it's good to know what kind of paint amepaka. Is it a silk paint? Is it a water paint? Is it a oil paint? You see, so only then you can know what exactly to replace and the type of the quality of these items. Ni plastic, ni metal, which kind of metal, is it silver, is it gold? You can do the replacement. And like I said, kama tuseme in a situation whereby umelipa tuseme 100k for deposit, and then huyu landlord akaamua akuregeshe 20,000. That doesn't make sense, does it? Haiwezekani nimelipa 100 umetumia 80 kurupia the house. Because sasa in that situation you can always move to court and ask for reimbursement. So the landlord lazima sasa akenda kotini ajitetee. Atajitetea aje kuleta receipts. Hizo receipts sasa tutaona how much did it actually cost him. Na kama ameenda way and above, you'll definitely be ordered to refund back. And then when you refund back the amount, kumbuka these orders, they normally come with interest, because that is one of the prayers we normally ask for. I need this amount, these are the general damages, and we also need the special damages. Perhaps iyo pesa ya deposit ningeifanyia kazi fulani.
Okay.
Na because umenikalia deposit yangu nimeharibikiwa na kitu fulani na sasa hizo because of that nafaa kupata kiwango hiki.
Okay.
So kuna special, kuna general, and then now you ask for even interest that will accrue out of from the date of judgment. So kama wewe unakaa hapo umepatiwa orders tuseme December and you've waited until 1 year later bado uja comply with those orders, so you have the right to enforce them, and when you enforce them you actually calculate the interest during that period, and that's why sometimes unaona from 10,000 mtu aweza kwenda hata 10 million. Yes. So it's good to be it's good to comply with the orders, and if you have an issue there is always a way to recover your state.
Okay.
There is always a way out.
Okay.
Yes. Now, again, when we go back to the fact that tough economic times, it's a thing, right?
Yes.
And so I'm unable to pay my rent. Okay. Either because I lost a job, or mavitu tu haziendi poa kwa biashara, si ndio? Is a landlord allowed to lock my house?
No. They are not allowed to lock your house. Actually, they can do a reminder because you have a right to enjoy your premises, because now, again, look at this. They have locked your house, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay it back. So you're going to incur losses. So who's going to compensate you on that? It doesn't make sense. They don't have the entitlement to lock you out. What they can do, they can give you a reminder. And again, there is a recourse whereby this landlord can come in and ask for their arrears. There is that act, distress act, whereby it gives you an opportunity to go to court and say, I've given this person ample time.
Yes.
Let's say I've given him 2 demand letters for 14 days and nothing has been utilized yet. Now you go to court, you move, and that court is the Rent Restriction Tribunal. This is a quasi-judicial body which actually deals with rent issues with regards to premises. Yes. So you move to that court, that tribunal, and how you move it, you go through a reference because there is formalities. And there is a form that you need to fill in for you to move that court so that you can be given audience. So yes.
So that is if my house is locked up, I seek audience.
If your house is locked up, you do a reminder. You give them an ample time. Like, you see, no. If the tenant house is locked up, then definitely you're gonna ask them, like, it's best to do it in a written form. And nowadays, the world is a global village, and the court recognize service through WhatsApp, email, electrical way of communication. So you ask them that you can bring it to their attention. You are infringing my right to quiet possession. And as much as you have a right, you as a tenant, you also have roles and responsibility that you have to comply with, because the landlord is entitled to rent, and because he has invested in that particular premises. So you are also infringing on his right.
Yeah.
So where do you strike a balance? Where as a tenant, it is actually wise to communicate, because things happen, and sometimes these are unforeseeable circumstances. So you ask your landlord, hey, you know what is up? I'm going through this and this, but I give myself an undertaking, or I give you an undertaking, or I give you a promise, by this date, I'll manage to complete my arrears. So only then, now there will be that mini contractual obligation, because now you have engaged into, an arrangement with the other individual. So from there, if you fail to comply, then there are procedure that the landlord should take, not to lock you out, no, but should go to court, get orders, and then from there, the auctioneers will come in, like I said, give you a proclamation for 7 days. After that, still you're not complying, they can come and collect your items, and you'll be given 14 days to redeem yourself. And if you do not redeem yourself, they'll just put a value on that so that they can recover the amount that is due to them.
So pretty much they're supposed to give me a notice, you know.
Yes.
They send you either when they're asking for payment, when they're asking for their arrears,
Yes.
supposed to send you a request on email,
Yes.
notice to pay or to vacate.
Yes.
And if you don't honor that
Yes.
as a tenant, then there are repercussions.
Yes, absolutely. It's a two-way string.
It is.
Yes.
We're talking about your rights as a tenant, and I want us to wrap up with this question from Mickey. And Asema, you come late from work, and the neighbor who is the daughter of the landlord is playing loud music. Mind you, it's 1 a.m. in the morning. The house is the Swahili type, and it's not soundproof. If you report to the agent, he does nothing, as he is the friend of the landlord's daughter. This continues every day. What can she do? What can she do?
Yeah. As much as you're a tenant, like I said, you also have roles and responsibilities that you have to comply with. So long as you are playing your music and it's not a nuisance to the other users around the premises, then you're okay. But if it is, then your right as a second user is infringed. And there is a recourse around it. You can always, call the landlord themselves and, bring the issue up. But it's best to do it in a written form. Or another way, you can call NEMA. These people that are normally, engaged with such kind of responsibilities and regulations around it. If it's something that is way beyond. So
okay, so you report to the landlord, ama upige NEMA.
Yes.
So my neighbor is being a nuisance.
Yes.
Yeah. I am that neighbor. Cindy upiga kelele.
Oh. Bueno, a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Bila mvua.
Trap house.
Wait. On a
Na si
Saturday.
soundproof.
My friend.
Be
Okay, no,
careful.
it's not soundproof.
Eh? Oh, kama ni soundproof, achilia.
Yes.
Chilia tu.
Anyway, Asya, as we're wrapping up, what would you tell a tenant mwenye hajui rights zake? What are the basics zenye anafaa kujua?
First and foremost, you have a right to a quiet protection. You have a right to clean environment. You also have a right to be refunded your deposit. You have a right to security tenor and the likes. The list is on and on. In fact, you as a tenant, you have a right before and after. Why am I saying before? There's this situation whereby landlords have restriction. I don't want this kind of a person, this kind of a family, this kind of a tribe, and all that. So you have a right to not be discriminated.
Okay.
That is the number one rule. You have a right to not be discriminated. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You are entitled to be in any part of this jurisdiction, in this good country of ours.
Yes. Kevin, what are you saying?
Amesema about discrimination and then I remembered that kuna nyumba zingine kama ni bachelor uruhusiwi.
Kama ni bachelor usingie.
We used to issue
Oh
up.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
one
no.
is there.
It is true.
Yeah. Lakini bachelor na wewe.
No. Kevin is right because the estates.
Bachelor is a no.
Bachelors are not allowed.
Allowed. Yes, it is true.
It's for family.
Yeah.
Is it a form of discrimination?
That is a discrimination because the Constitution under Article 27, no person, imagine I've used the word person. So you could be a foreigner or a citizen, it doesn't matter. But no person is entitled to discrimination either directly or indirectly. And the Constitution, again, under Article 21, it says that every person and state organs, they need to comply. They need to fulfill, respect, protect, and uphold the rights and fundamental freedom of every individual in the Constitution. So the moment you feel you are discriminated, take them to court and get very big compensation around it.
So if let's say a bachelor, that man,
Yes.
I mean, they say they want to live in this posh estate, but then this posh estate woman says this is for family only. You know, if they say no, that person can take.
Yes, I feel discriminated. You have the right. I told you there is that
Kevin.
right is fundamental, and the Constitution is the supreme law, and it every angle of law has to be in conformity with the Constitution.
That's it.
And that Constitution prevails any kind of law, written or unwritten law.
hapo kwa hiyo nini hiyo estate tutaandika the law does not prevail here. Kevin hutaishi na kuna Kevo.
You don't want bachelors around
Kwa
you?
nini?
Why don't you want bachelors around you?
Unaona ataanguka nayo ama atapita nayo.
Kevin.
There should be specific estates for bachelors alone. But you know, this is huge. Whatever he's talking about, it's not a minor issue. I know there are estates, even in Nairobi, where you know it's for a particular community.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
utatafuta wewe, utapata. You know, ni ya wenyeji.
Yes.
Yes,
Ni
and
how?
they don't hide it.
You can always challenge that, because that is now a direct discrimination. How can you be told you are not allowed to be part and parcel to this community? And that land itself, it belongs to the state. And we are all human beings, and it doesn't favor one leaving the other. Like I told you, the Constitution is the only law that prevails any kind of law, written or unwritten law. So if it says that no person should be discriminated either directly or indirectly, that stays as it is.
Okay.
Nothing can contravene that.
All right. I have somebody who's commending you here. Good morning, Breakfast Squad. Good morning, darling. This is Zoo. And Asma, thank you for bringing our legal. This woman is fierce. And, of course, she's listening to you loud and clear. I love when I say,
Thank you.
why am I sensing that Kevin is taking notes to go to the landlord who said he is a bachelor and and he cannot live there? Kidogo Kevin is pulling up with a range at the office. The easiest way to make money.
Yes.
Sue your landlord.
You just have to understand your rights. Yes.
Thank you, Asya, for coming through. It's been good having you.
Thank you so much as well.
All
I
right.
really appreciate this opportunity, and I hope I'll be coming more.
Definitely, you will.